Thank you, Montiun, for donating $50 to the stream. Also donating big bucks to the actual Matcherino. Thank you so much. Damn. Appreciate it. I was looking for the cord and I didn't find it, so forget about it. In the bottom right, this is getting to our grand finals. It is the green Terran, Kyla. In the top left, as the pink Zerg, it is Tilea. What happened to my back? I mean, it's been going on for a few months, so I'm sure you've heard me say it occasionally. I have sciatica, basically. Yes, I know chat interaction is the only difference, and it's a big difference, don't get me wrong. I feel like I haven't been... There's not been like a billion resubs or new subs or donations, and it's like... The guy who I don't even, like, you know, talk to or shout at all is the one that kind of complained. If it was a big resub, or if, like, Monsoon was like, oh, I'm kind of sad there's a delay, doesn't feel the same, then I'm like, oh, yeah, that sucks. Like, I know what you mean, but it's just like a guy that's not even doing anything. So I don't know why he would complain that much. So I don't know. I know it's a big deal, and honestly, like, tournament organizers wish they didn't have to use delay, because it's always cooler when you can instantly react to chat's words and stuff. It's not like we're building a story off of chat or shooting the shit and having silly conversations like over on like base trade, for instance, or ballistics. But anyways, beyond that, we do have 3 hatch for Tilea, pretty quickly, but you know, she's gonna be able to get away with it. If you don't get the gas that fast, that's exactly what you can do. The Reaper's going to be able to scout that if the SCV didn't quite, and it didn't. But it scouted how late the gas was, so that should be on her mind. That the third base should be down already. So, Deity did ask Kyla in the in-game chat, like, you know, what what are you really? Like, what rank are you really? Which is a perfectly fine question to ask, because it really, like, Kyla is not playing like a Diamond 3 Terran player at all. Now, she apparently is Diamond 3 maybe like with Protoss, like that's what she ranked on this account, but she's usually like Masters 2 with Terran, which makes a lot more sense. Now, Masters 2, I would say, still doesn't beat Tilea, but it has a really good shot of taking a game or two, especially if you manage to get like a lead, like an early Hellbat attack with an armor or something like that. Then I could definitely believe it. You have a mistake in your FAQ. Worst race Zerg. But you understand what that was in context with, right? That my worst race is playing is Zerg. Yeah. Anyways. This Reaper is being quite bothersome. That's what's gonna happen when you don't have speed at 320, 330 like you usually do. Instead you have it at 4 minutes, that's a couple extra drone kills, maybe, but some good micro, and finally the Queens are able to take that bad boy out. We have a armory on the way, so exactly what I was hoping to see, to maybe get some early game damage or throw Tilea off her rhythm, because otherwise I don't think Kyla would win a straight up head-to-head macro battle. Monty, big supporter of so many streamers. I know, he's a great guy. Supports a lot of different people in StarCraft. I never hit that tweet button. Oh, that was a pretty fresh mule still, and this one's a definitely fresh mule. Oh, that hurts. Right before the Hellions come out. Oh, it always hurts. But those are Lings not back here helping, as Tilea, like, her one weakness, I would say, in DBZ was scouting. Seems to be the same deal in TVZ, as there is some nice medevac micro, but oh, not enough to save it. That definitely could have been saved for a few more seconds of healing. Instead, tried to go for some fancy Hellbat back attacks to stop the Queens from microing. Unfortunately, not going to be enough to get the Queens, as this one is pulled back. That one can barely be pulled back. Actually, it won't even have to be, as the Lings take care of it all. Kyla with a good idea and some solid execution, was taken off guard by the Ling run by, as well as losing that medevac maybe a little bit too early. And now more Lings running past. Tilea using those Lings like we know she loves to use to get into the natural once again. Hellions pop out in the main, but 3 of them are over here doing nothing. The wall is still not complete, and more Lings flood forward. The drones over here are protected by a spine crawler, and this is going to be just too much damage. Some nice hold positioning on the SCVs will buy a couple of their lives. The supply depots in the natural are going to be gone. The third C has to be lifted. The Hellions actually try to go into the natural where there's no spine crawler. They do manage to find the drones without protection, but Queens are right on their tail. 5 drones, 7 drones, and 8 drones, not quite even transfuse. 7 drones to 5 SCVs. That wasn't so bad when you look at the workers to workers, but then you look at the damage to the supply depots, how many Hellions had to be sacrificed for this, and then just how much Tilea is still ahead on that worker count now with a 4th base. But we do have a Liberator sieged up, getting a few more drones. It's always very nice. Queen's able to tackle that, though. In the nick of time. And Kyla, not on the 3rd CC like you would usually expect at this time, is once again potentially going to have to take damage from these Lings. Hellions are microed back into a bit of a corner, a choke, whatever you want to call it, and they are going to maximize their damage. They are no longer being microed, so the Lings get on top of it, and they die. I mean, they managed to take out most of the Lings with them, so it's 7 SCVs instead of, I don't know, 10 SCVs, but Liberator over here trying to do more damage, only gets 3 drones. This is certainly a lot of action, but you can see where... oh, barely loses that. You can see why a couple of times these Hellions have not been microed perfectly is because she was sending out the Liberators. And while they're trading blow for blow, it is trading favorably for Tilea. Is Tilea GM? I don't know how consistently she's GM nowadays, but I definitely think she's Masters 1. Plus, she has a very particular style that even if she wasn't Masters or GM or whatever, maybe she's only Masters 2 or hell even Masters 3, which I don't think she is. I could see her still winning a lot of tournaments because she knows how to play tournaments. In fact, I think the person who could take her on, Koshiki, was it? I think she actually is a higher MMR than her, but Tilea just knows how to play in tournaments, like I was saying. She has a lot of experience, no nerves for her, better best of planning, and just, yeah, a very unique style with some old school styles and very Ling-based styles. Liberator once again going to try and do some harassment, but now being seen by Creep Spread, there we go. Should be taken care of, no problem. Sport Crawler should probably just be moved over to the right side. Ladies. Well, alrighty then. That's a dead gas geyser. The Hellions go in to try and get some drones, but Lings are there to meet them. These are upgraded Lings too. Queens, transfuses do go down. Does say that one Queen takes a Liberator, no problem. Has to remake the gas, but I guess that's not such a big deal. Hellions dying. With how many Hellions and Liberators have been made, I'm pretty sure Tilea is guessing it's mech, even though she hasn't seen the second factory. That's just a very safe guess to make. She's going into a Spire, which maybe because she knew it was mech, maybe she just wanted to do this anyways. Regardless, like, there wouldn't be a lot of production even if there was barracks on the way. Like, because you know, no matter what they're going into, they did make a lot of Hellions, they did make a lot of units that they have lost, so they got to be low on production. And in this case, they're low on mech production, which doesn't have a lot of anti-air to begin with. So the Mutas should win this game if the Lings just don't, and the Lings do. GG, Tilea takes game number 1, but quite an action-packed game number 1. I mean, Kyla, yeah, the Lings, it always sucks when you lose to Lings with Hellions, because technically they should beat Lings, but that's never actually true, right? Like, no one here should be like, lol, XD, Kyla can't defend against Lings with Hellions. Like, no, that's not... Hellions versus Lings and Banelings versus Marines is actually some of the most beautiful micro that can happen in StarCraft 2, alright? So it does happen, and with how much is going on, it was bound to happen too. They might have targeted a bit wrong, just a little. Dreamcatcher. Oh, okay, so we actually haven't seen too many of the older maps. So Lost and Found is a default map for like 2 of the series, and then Chosen a couple times. But Acid Plant and Dreamcatcher have not been chosen yet, or default. Thank you, Whoosh J, for the 25 donation to the Maturino. I think we can say that Banshee tournament will be on for a long time. Maybe we can do like a monthly thing too, or like the top 8-point receivers can get a big old shebang. But that'll be for later discussion. I mean, when I was thinking of donations to continue the tournament going, I was thinking more to ensure that it goes for like months at a time, and now we're getting into like years at a time, you guys. So gotta find ways to use money. What a chore. What a first world problem. Thank you, Nilson R, for the tier 3 2-month resub. One of the few tier 3ers. I think you're one of 3. Appreciate it. Especially because I'm not streaming a lot right now. I was unable to find my USB cord, by the way. Like, I don't know how. I mean, I know how. There's like a big old mess of wires behind my monitor because my desktop is on my table too. I just find it much easier that way, but sometimes I lose wires. So, you know. Alright, in the bottom right, as the green Terran, she is Kyla, down 1. The top left, as the pink Zerg, she is Tilea. Really quite curious where it's gone. Follow the trail. Oh! I found it! Nailed it. It was hanging off the edge, so I was looking for the, you know, the copper ending to it, and I couldn't find it because it was off the edge. Alright, so maybe you'll get to see Apollo in the next... I mean, we could do a cat cam right now. What is this? Professional? I don't think so. That's bright, though. It's very bright. Nothing was happening besides an SCV scout on a regular hatch pool opener into the 3rd base against an Ogas. So I can configure, I can jigger. I mean, I guess there's actually not much I can do. So just actually changing the light. There you go. Pause, what the hell are you doing? I could look outside. No, I can't. This is bullshit. Alright, what has happened? What's going on? Wow, something actually interesting did happen. My bad. Ha! A bunker was built. I just didn't expect that. And as you can see, I didn't do all that much. Only 1 worker killed, but, I mean, it's always a little scary. Scouts at 3rd base. No extra lings were really made to deal with that. And that was something I Might have wanted to follow. Whatever. Command center's on the way, so 3 base. Really, really quickly. Something that Tilea probably won't be scouting. She saw the factory. She didn't see the second gas, or lack thereof, most importantly, and didn't see the third C actually go down. Again, lack of scouting may be Telea's biggest weakness. Go, Reaper, go. I'm gonna watch you. Cat cam needs better lighting, but it's up. I think I can just change the angle of the tripod and it'll be fine. Speed is almost done. There it goes. But against 4 Hellions, this should not do a lot of damage. That was kind of bold up so they didn't think that would work. Now, what she saw from that, though, was no supply depots at the front. So from that, if she's thinking about it, she would recognize it as a 3rd CC. That is something very small, but honestly a big enough detail to actually know. Now, this is something that Kyla threw out earlier today, wasn't it? The good old 2-factory Hellion Cyclone. And with the lack of scouting from Tilea, I keep talking about this, all you have to do is find an attack that isn't, like, that isn't dealt with just by, like, solid defensive play. Right, so that Hellbat attack earlier, like, yeah, okay, something that automatically kills a Zerg player. Okay, this actually is kind of important. Some good Hellion dodging, going around, killing all these Lings. She wants to keep these alive to help out the Cyclones for later. So that was actually really nicely done from our Terran player. But anyways, that Hellbat attack earlier, yeah, last game, like, the Queens with a nice micro, emergency Lings, and you do eventually deal with it. Most of the time, but something like this, where they're building Cyclones as well as Hellbats, and in fact, I would have loved Kyla to actually wait a little bit longer for more units. You need to actually have an actual defense against this. You want Banelings, you want Roaches, you want, you know, double the amount of Queens, because the Lings just get absolutely barbecued. A Spine Crawler can be helpful, but it's not done, so instantly killed, not canceled. And the Cyclone doing some significant damage to the hatchery. Bit of a counterattack is going to bother Kyla a little bit, but not too much, as the hatchery not gonna have any transfuse put into it. There's not available, goes down. Only the cost of 2 SCVs. Well, and I guess a lot of Hellbats too. But now Tilea has to really readjust what she's doing compositionally. She's going for Lings here, maybe into a Spire once again, but actually they're not that dependable against the mass Cyclone build game that Kyla will be playing. Unless he can take out the Cyclones, which she does take out 2. Thanks to some Ling reinforcements. Thank you, Sir GeForce, for the 7-month resub. Cat Cam, 100 bits from DJ Yoda 9K. 100 bits. Haven't seen you stream in a while. Welcome back. Thank you. I personally am not streaming, so I won't. I'm not really back, but at least you see me here today. That scan of the main, probably looking for that Spire. I don't think she ever got to see that it was done, though, last game. I think it's more just like, okay, this could be a real problem for me if I let it go unscouted. Even with Cyclones being, like, more consistent anti-air than, like, you know, Thors, which you're not going to get that quickly off a build like this, or even Widow Mines, which can maybe get the pop-off or not. Cyclones still aren't that great, especially without their upgrade. So you don't want surprise mutas ruin your day. Now, Tilea is hurting. You know, that hatch loss is not a big deal. It's actually quite a big deal. 4th base is not done, drones are not transferred, and she still has to worry about this composition that she is only now really responding to with a lot of Roaches. But now she has the Roaches. Does she have any Lings? No, 1 Ling. So that's where, like, you need either a ton of Roaches to withstand the Cyclones and kill the Hellbats, or you want, like, Banelings and Lings to also try and wrap around and push through the Hellbats too. Otherwise, you're asking for trouble, which is exactly what's happening here. Now, the Cyclone Micro did not quite save that one. 3 Cyclones are left alive, finally trying to rip through these Queens. Finally, 1 goes down, second one will go down too. +1 is almost done for the Cyclones. That's what she was missing last time, and this one doesn't seem particularly well timed either. +1 can be a huge difference. In fact, if +1 was done for the entire fight, I actually don't think it's even close. I really don't. And with that second fight not going so well, losing out on a building army before the upgrade was done, I think that Tilea has gained back the momentum. Inevitably, Cyclone Hellion gets worse, and not because the composition gets better, you know, you build Banelings perhaps, or Fungal, something like that. No, it's just, you get enough roaches, you buy enough time, that suddenly, even with upgrades, the Cyclones just can't really go toe-to-toe. Not unless they're trading very, very efficiently and very smartly, which the last engagement was not so wise. So it's a big question mark for Terra, and she's going to continue making those perfect calls. Now, Force to See is on the way, and if she doesn't take any counterattack damage, she'll be able to continually produce, and rather quickly at that, both units being reactored out, right? Oh, nice snipe on that 4th base. I think it's dead. Yeah, it's dead. Also, a drop off to the natural side. Kyla playing some very entertaining Terran versus Zerg, and Tilea just trying to keep up with her. Losing another base does hurt. Really does. But those upgrades, while they're on the way for Kyla, it's not really the fastest +2 you've ever seen. And Tilea is already at 2-1-1. With the Carapace upgrade, probably should have been more of the emphasis. It's still some decent upgrades. 9 SCVs go down to the counter. Not too shabby, but still 67 SCVs and 54 drones, and that's where things are really bad. Tila's trying to go up to this hive, which I'm not even exactly sure what she's going to use the hive for. But she probably should have just, well, first of all, saved her 4th base, but also gotten up to more like 65 drones. And then she can swell with whatever unit she wants to. So, I guess I thought Tilea was going to gain back the momentum after that one bad attack. Or attack they didn't do as much as it should have, is a better way to put it. She's actually not gaining back the momentum. Now, I love the Ling run by. She's going to try and buy time here. Another run by over here is going to do quite a bit of damage. Oh, Miss Rally. Oopsie daisy. But can she deal with the army over here? I really wonder if Ultras were the better move here. I think Fungals could have helped. I think more Roach than Ravagers would have been better. But we'll see if she can hold some Queens for Transfuses. +2 not quite done. Once again, a bit of an anti-timing for our Terran player. Finally going to be done, but already a lot of damage taken, and that did not go so well. And she took 17 SCVs worth of damage. No more, perhaps. These are upgraded Lings. Now going to have 2-2 on the attacks. 1 Carapace still, but that is also on the way. These Medivacs accidentally run back into the Queens. Focus fire on the weak one as well. And the Corrosive Bile is not quite close to hitting. There's a lot of damage to take on the Medivacs, which are still a key part of the army. They're trying to heal those Hellbats, sorry. Well, the Cyclones still damaged. Instead, Kyla once again loses her army. And I think with that hold, now Tilea is back up to 65 drones. I think Tilea does have the momentum, does have the edge in this game. Kyla has 4 bases, can remake the SCVs, and is now transitioning into more of an expected mech tech. Mech tech. One that should deal fine against the Ultras, by the way, which I'm still kind of questioning, even against the Cyclone Hellion composition, because the Ultras still can be kited by the Cyclones, who, they deal a lot of fast, light damage. Not versus light damage. They deal a lot of fast, sort of insignificant damage, I guess, but it's fast, right? So it's actually an insane amount of DPS. The damage per second is not that great, so that's usually where the armor of the Ultra really kicks in. You can kite against the Ultras with Cyclones, and then the Hellions in an ideal world would kind of just purge off any Lings trying to get this around. So unless she was going to pair up the Ultras with Fungals, I don't really like this against Cyclone Mech, and I don't like it versus Tank Mech. In fact, most people don't like it versus Tank Mech, right? Hellion run by does a nice bit of damage. 8 drones for 4 Hellions is really not so bad. Also a big distraction, and she goes for the Ultralisk Cavern. Now I don't have to worry about dealing with Ultras, but you will have to worry about perhaps Vipers. That's obviously very key to that hive, or perhaps a Greater Spire, as a Spire is on the way, scouted by the Hellions, I believe. So Kyla needs to be wary about that. She's putting a couple Thors, just in case. Also, it could have been a Muta transition. I love the constant harassment of the double Medivac drops, too. I mean, this is some really cool TVZ. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Oh, boost out of there. Nailed it. Kyla has also stopped upgrading. There we go. +3, and even an armor upgrade, which I think would really do quite well. So the armor upgrade is especially important on mech for the eventual problem of Corruptors. Obviously, armor affects both ground and air, so you get to help out your Vikings, you know, maybe later on. But probably more importantly, question mark? Maybe, maybe not. You help your Thors against the Broodling damage. Thors already have like a pretty nice health pool plus nice armor, and then you advance it, and suddenly the Broodlings, you can actually live past even like 20 Broodlords attacking you. Although that's usually too high of a number for Thors to actually tackle. There's that weird number that if you get like 20 Broodlords, you just like Thors won't be able to push past all the Broodlings, even with the Hellbats helping. Which, speaking of the Hellbats, we'll get to do a Blue Flame. We should also see Transformation Servos. It's a cheap upgrade that is worthwhile, I think, but we don't see it yet. We actually have an attempt to go into Bio, or well, Ghosts, specifically. Which, you know, I'm not sure I like, but a lot of Terran players do not think that Vikings are viable against Corrupted Broodlord, Viper, Fungal, blah, 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 blah. Nor do they think that Thors will last long enough, which... you can certainly see why when the Vikings die to Parasitic Bomb Fungal or the Thors can't move past the Broodlings. You can see why Terrans don't believe in either composition. But this is a very scary position. I mean, this is exactly... 26 SCVs just went down. This is exactly why Kyla probably wanted this map for these chokes. But actually not paying attention to our army for a second. Hellbats died to the Banelings, and if Broodlords were on the way, the lack of Hellbats would be substantial. The Broodlet's not even close to being done. Greater Spire's still not done. 35 SCVs is huge. And still rallying some in. This Planetary is kind of weak, and a further Ling run by could end up killing it. The army over here is going to be taken out. It costs a lot of Telea's army, but it is good enough. I mean, just barely. Wow. Just barely. Oh, Queen's gonna be able to take everything out here, but Tilea is on 5 bases, 66 drones. Kyla might be on 5 bases as well, but is only on 38 SCVs. Where are the mule drops? Actually, scans go down on either side. They see the Greater Spire, and what do you do against the Greater Spire? You're gonna have 2 ghosts. You're gonna have some Thors, but you also need to build Hellions. Kyla needs to build SCVs. She needs to build Hellions. She needs to rebuild her gas geysers. So many things to fix back at home, and then you have to worry about whatever composition they're going for, and actually, it's not going to be the Broodlords. Not quite yet anyways. It's 6 Ultras on the way. Now, Ultras, still questionable. Thors do pack a punch against, you know, if it's only Ultras. Seriously, like, Ultras by themselves are kind of a pathetic unit. I think we can kind of confidently say that, especially now that they've had 1 armor taken away from them since the beginning of Legacy of the Void. They're really not a great unit, but you combine them with anything else, Fungals, Lings, Banelings, Queens, even with Transfusers, right? And they are still decent units. Thors aren't bad to have against them. They aren't as great as having like 5 tanks or 10 tanks at a choke, right? And with the Thors trying to hit the Broodlords, the Ultras will get all those free swipes on the ground. At the very least, take care of the Hellbats that are trying to protect Thors from the Broodlings. I have a coupon code for Maturino. No, not this time. Maybe next time. Michael from Maturino has already offered, so it's nice of them. Oh boy. This is a serious TVZ. Kyla has her 5th base down location, which I just really wasn't expecting. And even tries to have her main command center or vice versa. I'm not sure which one. Point is, try to get to the gold base with that creep spread, just not really been a focus for either player. I mean, Kyla hasn't done a lot of damage with the creep spread, but then Tilea hasn't spread. You know, she's not Scarlet. She's not literally across the map with the lack of Hellions. But this is a lot of Lings. The Ghosts are also in trouble. They get tapped once and their snipe is canceled. Do I like this Ghost skin? I can't tell. I guess I do. It's kind of cool. Anyways, more Broodlords are on the way. There are no Vikings to help out. It really is all about the Thors and the Ghosts. They really, 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 really need the Hellion backup. And I think Kyla recognizes that too, but it might be too late. Only 3 Hellions being made at a time out of 5 factories. Actually just temporarily pausing production as he tries to micro this. Some snipes go off, but the Ghosts are the first thing to get crunched by the Ultras. And the Thor is now back into a corner with no Hellbat support. 2 types of enemies to engage. That is gonna be it. GG. Kyla. Damn close. Damn close in this game to having a good enough lead to run away with it. I feel like if she had those faster upgrades on the Cyclones, and seriously, like those attacks were like 20 seconds faster on the upgrades, could have been a big difference. And maybe a few more units, macro-wise or timing-wise, and I feel like she actually wins that one. But in the same vein, not exactly. Like, with the idea of Cyclones versus Roaches, we can comment a lot about how Kyla doesn't have perfect timing and perfect macro, and neither does Tilea, right? But even when you see some of these perfect players, like Yumiho versus Sue or something like that, the same effect can happen. Or even if they are a bit better timed with the upgrades or a bit better timed with the production or whatever, eventually Cyclones do just lose out. And, you know, in certain engagements they seem really overpowered. Other engagements they seem really, really bad. This Ling run bys really hurt. Remember the Laser versus Serral's going on right now? Can the god bleed? She says, guess I'll lose on Acid Plant next, but I feel like she's getting really close. These are not bad games. Even that first game, while she lost to Lings, and that always feels bad, she was doing a lot of other stuff to try and get some return for it. But if you lose 2-0, one of the games probably felt very one-sided. And even maybe the last game felt one-sided, or maybe it was even more disappointing because you thought you had an edge and then you lost it. Like, these games probably don't feel that great. You're already in that mindset of like, well, I'll just try my best when we're going to lose. It's already not a great sign. Yeah, some players, they do better when they have no expectations. Apollo, are you the cutest? Apollo. He's ignoring me. Yeah, so that's what happened. Kyla feels like last game she had a lead, which she did. Alright, potential last game here is Tilea 3-0'd the finals in the first Banshee tournament. 3-2'd the next Banshee tournament. Is looking at 3-0ing again with a new opponent here. But I got to give it up for Kyla. Some dynamic build choices, some excellent multitasking. I feel like she's really got a bright future. Whoops, a paisy daisy. There we go. She continues playing, and this, like, you know, obviously a lot of the big reasons we have this tournament is to just like have an atmosphere that women feel like they won't be judged or ridiculed or how they even just want to have fun with other women, right? Like that's all well and good. There is also this idea where if you can give an up-and-coming female player maybe a bit of support, maybe a bit of advertisement, you know, whatever, you get to cast her and whatnot, that they'll actually continue playing, continue getting better, and might start participating in bigger events, right? Maybe you get into ladder heroes, maybe you actually do get high enough in GM to make it to WCS, and boom, suddenly it's not just Scarlet winning events, or participating in events at the very least. Anyways, that's all maybe for the very far future. In the bottom right, she's still down 2-0. It is the green Terran Kyla. In the top left, as the pink Zerg, is Tilea. like Kyla likes SCV scouting. It might just be she likes it in TVZ. It might be that she doesn't want to, you know, not have her say in the mid game. Because Tilea could go for an early attack, but Tilea hasn't really been that type of player to go for like an extreme cheese. Hell, even that game where she was going for Roach Burrow, she went for it off of 3 bases and almost died for it. No, she did die for it. That's right. So maybe SCV Scout's a little unnecessary, but I like this. She realizes that Tilea is going for that 3rd hatch every single time, so she builds, well, blocks the 3rd hatch. She built a bunker last game, but it's really, it looks more dire than it really is. The real damage done whenever a Terran builds a bunker back here for a single Reaper is when the Zerg overreacts. That's pretty much the only damage it really does. Unless you can manage to get like a Marine or 2 over here too, which is just highly unlikely unless you proxy the barracks. It's not that big of a deal. So Kyla doesn't bother with that this time. She has, I mean, she salvaged it last game, so it's 25 minerals and maybe panic sets in for Tilea, but clearly didn't happen last game. She stalled out the 3rd base. She continues to stall out the 3rd base. She'll be keeping an eye on whenever a drone comes over here, and her micro's been pretty good with the Reaper, so I do believe in that. Tilea has overloads in position to scout crucial elements, but I like how Kyla's been playing. I mean, first it was an armory attack, which I mentioned can be held as long as you're playing somewhat safe. The other 3rd base was taken. Rip. And that's why it didn't do a lot of damage. That double factory build is exactly the type of thing that Tilea should die to. Like, there's going to be a time eventually, and I think last tournaments is why Tilea had 2 games taken away from her, and then this tournament, it's why 1 game was taken away from her in ZVZ, and why Kyla almost took another game from her, is because she doesn't scout that often. There will be a time when everyone will come together and be like, hey, what if we just do, like, really absurd things against her? And Tilea's gonna have to actually get some decent scouting in. In fact, I think if this is like versus Protoss, I feel like Tilea would just be dying to charge all lanes and fake, you know, 3rd bases all over the place. But we haven't seen a super high level Protoss make their way to the semifinals quite yet in this tournament. I think it's every 2 weeks. So that is the plan, but just like coincidentally, I've had to travel on like the 2nd week, so last tournament was done on, oh shoot, I can't remember her name right now. Plus I can't pronounce it. Shit. Well, you all know who it was. Sorry. Australian caster. Damn it. Anyways, it was on her channel, and then the next Banshee tournament will be in 3 weeks, because in 2 weeks I'm going to Montreal. So yeah. Hello. Hello, opening. I felt sick. I just quoted a Final Fantasy 15 quote. Ugh, gross. But that is a huge opening. Oh my good god. 18, 19. Can she go for 20? 20 drones. She has 4 Hellions left over. She's gonna go into the main base. This is actually game-ending damage. A Banshee's gonna try and take on a Queen. It'll barely win that one out, although it could also try and cloak. Doesn't matter. It wins against a single Queen. 25, 27. Oh my good god. I think Kyla just got a game under her belt. As long as she takes no damage from a counterattack, which Tilea's not even trying to do anymore. She's building drones right now. Kyla should absolutely win this game. Oh my god. Tilea was at a loss for Lings. I mean, how often does that happen? They're usually either countering and doing an equal amount of damage, or they're here protecting her against losing that many drones. Dear lord. And going into a 3rd Banshee, Mech is on the way, 3rd CC. This is an even bigger lead, a much bigger lead, I would say, than the last game. And if she loses it here, well, that probably will feel pretty bad. I don't think she will. No Spore Crawler in the middle to protect the Queens. They walk to and from the 3rd base. Lair is only just now on the way, so Spore Crawlers are the only form of detection and solid anti-air. Kyla has everything going for her, and I think the only reason Tilea's still in this game is that she did come back from the last one. She does believe she's the better player, but good lord, that is too much damage to take. Is it double elimination? No, it is not, so you can check out the bracket and see for yourself. Who is the girl? They're both girls. I think you missed the point of the tournament, Broski. It's all good, though. You can read up on it by typing !Maturino. Azilis. She, something I can't pronounce anyways. Thank you. She was the one that cast. But I did say an Australian caster, and Zeph is like the other one, so. And the more popular one, I guess, too. All right, now that that's been answered. So double armory on the way. That is something that is definitely delayed, so I'm glad it's double armory. Third CC is moving on over. Telea's just been trying to recover on the drones, which she has done. 58 drones is more of a comfortable place to be than, you know, 30 or whatever it was. But still not great. Fourth base was a little delayed. Delayer was definitely delayed, and these Banshees have been continuing to be a nuisance. So Kyla might be down in SCVs. It's only by 2, which is actually not being down at all with mules. Oh my god, not again. Hellions run into that third base, and they almost get the perfect lineup. At the last second, Tilea spreads her drones, and the Lings come trying to defend. All of them are dead, however, and it is just the Queens. 4 Hellions survive, and they will come back and try that again. What the hell? Alright, that's a little weird. It doesn't work against a Terran player and a choke. It doesn't really work against Zerg player. Queens are just too tanky against the tank shots of a tank. That was very repetitive, but you guys know what I mean. They're not armored, so they don't take extra damage. Whoever like doesn't watch StarCraft was like, this caster sucks. Her English no good. Alright, that was a little weird, and oh, bad timing. Lings will be able to run by and get a few SCVs, but not comparable to how many SCVs in total? 37 SCVs lost. The Banshees were finally cleaned up. Looks like they dived too deep into a spore crawler under the Queens. What an interesting SimCity we got here. Invitation Pit is once again on the way. I really feel like if Kyla, now that she's not going into some, you know, the weird mid-game Cyclone tech, if she continues building tanks... Oh no, she never started her upgrades! Oh no! Oh, it's starting to fall through the fingers. If she continues committing to like weird, you know, attacks, you aren't really supposed to attack below 150 as a mech player for a reason. You have to be damn sure it's going to work if you're going to do it. And especially if you're not going to go for upgrades, you are actually cutting yourself off at the knees. You're making this more all-in than it has to be. A surround is coming through. There are no buildings to help take care of the Hellbats. The Lings on top of the tanks, however, and 2 of them go down. 1 is left over. She's actually target firing with her Lings on top of that one. Queens survive, are target firing the tank themselves. They don't have a lot of damage, but it was just enough. Another tank comes forward here. Spine clothes are being made to help out against the Hellbats. An Overseer and Caser's Banshees, but they're actually all dead. More Lings are on the way. Tilea never made a Roach Warren. She went right for an Infestation Pit, thinking that she had time to get up to probably Ultras, because usually mech players don't attack before 150. But if Tilea can hold this, then she can use all of her minerals and gas. Oh, Swarm Host. Yeah, exactly. She can go into that. This is a much more abusive position for the tank, but Queens are Telea's former defense here, and they are able to weather a lot of damage, but they cannot deal a lot of damage, and that is the primary problem here as Kyla continues to extend her lead. If Tilea had Roaches, Swarm Hosts, or Banelings, this attack is not nearly as effective. In fact, it looks actually very silly. But because Tilea had none of those things, is only just now building the Swarm Host, getting their upgrades to a +1, she is taking that damage. Oh boy. This game is not over because Swarm Host will add so much to the cost efficiency of Telea's army. She is setting them out piece by piece, not just all at once. The Hellbat count is getting low. Blue Flame is just now on the way. We have Thor's actually on the way, which is a bit of an interesting... I mean, initially she might have thought it was a Spire Desperation swap, but it's now confirmed to be Swarm Hosts. I don't think Thor's the way you want to go against it. It's actually more about Hellbats and still Siege Tanks. But we'll see what her plan is with the Thors. These Spine Crawlers ended up helping just enough, by the way, against the Hellbats that would get close to the Queens, but we're able to kill all of them that quickly. We have reduced the count of Queens, though, to 7. I think they were up to like 10 or 12 before the fight really ended. Lings are getting some extra damage done. In fact, the Thor's gonna now be taken out. Thor not very effective against Lings whatsoever. Definitely not effective against Locusts for similar reasons. Fourth base is barely gonna survive. I see even being healed up by a medevac, that helps. What are you doing, Thor? Don't reveal yourself. What are you doing, buddy? Lings, why aren't you going over to that Thor to kill it? Now Tilea realizes, wait a second, that wasn't a Viking? Nah, she must have thought it was a Viking. Ha, that's funny. This base is completely open for a counterattack, by the way, which I feel Tilea will eventually, you know, once she's found her peace of mind again, will be able to execute. If that has been her... It was her way back in the last game, and it's been her way back in any game she's taken early damage from. But this tenacity, by the way, of our pink Zerg player is another reason why, like, her experience in the past, I think, really shines, even if her MMR isn't as substantially ahead, or even ahead in general, right? Like, against some of these players, like, while she still ends up winning all the tournaments. Swarm host, not able to take care of the would-be planetary, I guess. But trust me, if that thing isn't immediately lifted with its low health, it will die to swarm hosts. Oh, it will die a very nasty death. This ends up not being a great idea. Oh, one medevac goes down in the Thor. Creep is being cleaned up, but it's a mostly Thor army, and she's still building Thors. I really, like, okay, so having 2 Thors to boost around in a medevac to bait out the swarm host locust is actually a really good thing to do. I don't mind that at all, but you don't actually build against swarm host Thor Hellbat. I mean, it could, especially if you're in like a substantial lead, and that's exactly what she's doing. But there's no added benefit to having Thors I can think of. And no, like the cherry on top of what's making this a crappy follow-up for Kyla, after a really, really good game, nice scan on the base, is that she never got the upgrades. So that +1 armor that can really help out the Thors against, you know, the high DPS units like Lings and Locusts, it's not here. It's not helping. Oh my god, that Thor goes down so quickly. These Thors go down so quickly. Oh god, she's moving across the map. Oh no, it's a huge Ling run by. It's not gonna get the planetary because that's still, well, it's still burning actually, so that might eventually die, but it's gonna get all the Thors. She's putting so many Thors, not enough Hellbats. She has 4 tech labs. Oh no, I feel like if she watches this game, she's probably gonna hate my casting, I'm sorry, but I feel like if she watches this game on replay, she's just gonna realize that if she had built like 6 Helens at a time and 2 tanks, or 2 Thors, I guess in her case, or at least 4 Hellions at a time, I think she would have had this game. But maybe I'm speaking too soon. That is a lot of transfused queens. 2-2 is about to finish for a Zerg player. Swarm hosts are still open and available, so even if she lost this 3rd base, she would eventually be able to push through all the Thors. Because again, no Hellbats to actually move the Locust away, kill the Locusts, and no medevacs either to help would-be Hellbats. And these Lings are doing absolute damage. They're killing all the production. They're killing a command center. They're stopping this command center from landing and being repaired. And I think Tilea has done it. The comeback is real. Swarm hosts are real. GG is called. And Tilea still is able to take the Banshee tournament number 3. Continues to be the champ. Number 1. But, and last week it was a 3-2, so really close to losing out. And this week, well, it might have been a 3-0. I think Kyla kind of like, you know, just tweaks a couple of things, and she is a serious contender. That was a pretty exciting best of. I'm, very happy to see that. It's always a little bit worrying when it's like, oh, is Tilea just going to dominate? And that has not been the case. But all right, that is it for this tournament. Thank you so much for all the support, guys. I know a lot of people, you know, they're glad to see me back. And the truth is, I'm not really back. I need to cast this tournament. I'm going to keep this up for as long as possible, especially now that it's fully funded.